All right, it's time for another episode of Neil's Bullshit, starring the bullshitter general liar, the TriMet general liar, Neil Mcfarlane, who exists in a world of parallel universe, who's so disconnected from the operations of his agency he doesn't have the slightest idea what is going on. And when you look at these board meetings after you've been listening to the dispatch for a while and following the news, you really can see how disconnected they are. There's like no relevance between the TriMet board and TriMet the company. There's no connection at all. There's two different things going on there. One is the real organization, the transit, is in shambles, and the other is this board, which lives in this ridiculous universe of budgets and Mcfarlane and their little presentations. Anyway, let's start his bullshit.
Board President, members of the board, just a few quick updates. First of all, let you know where we are with mobile ticketing. As of this morning, we had 43,000 downloads of the app, so it's been really well received. We actually have sold 235,000 tickets over the electronic system, so clearly a lot of people are taking advantage of this new system, and so we're very pleased with that.
You know, a lot of people are using it. 44,000 downloads. You should know that I've talked to several bus operators. They hate the application because what happens is the people wait to see the bus in the horizon, which is a smart thing to do, and then they activate it, and apparently it's very, very slow loading. I mean, extremely slow. So I've heard more than one complaint from a bus operator about that, and we've read several people having incidents with the fare Nazis about the application and not loading their ticket until they get on the Mac platform. You know, I don't understand that. You know, why would you activate your ticket until you actually get on the train? But apparently TriMet, you know, being the fascist, ridiculous organization it is, insists that people have it activated before you get on the platform. So you get on the platform and wait 15, 20 minutes for the train. You've just wasted 20 minutes of the ticket. I don't get it, but I guess if you bought the ticket out of the machine, you'd get the same thing. So it's a good thing overall, but it's not the perfect thing that Mcfarlane wants to present it as. You know, lots of instances of a white screen or the app freezes. Still hearing reports of people losing their tickets. Blah blah.
Just another quick update on the bridge naming. As you know, we're in the midst of soliciting names from the community related to the Portland-Milwaukee Bridge. As of this morning, over 2,250 name submissions have been received. You can thank your colleague, board member Stovall, for being part of the committee that will be looking at all of that. Obviously, we'll try to weed out, you know, the Bart Simpson Bridge kind of notions, but that will come up. But
Lisa Simpson. Lisa Simpson.
Yeah.
I don't think he knows who Lisa Simpson is. Do you? Anyway, he's going to weed those out. I mean, if this was truly a public process, he shouldn't be weeding anything out, really. I mean, I already know this is bullshit. This is a bullshit process. It's a PR stunt. I wouldn't be at all surprised if they've already just decided what the name is going to be, but they're going through this to make it appear like the public has input, because this is very important to them, to make the perception that people actually have a role when the reality is completely different. Yeah, I don't think they should weed anything out. I mean, if the majority of the people wanted Lisa Simpson Bridge, then that's what it should be. You know, he doesn't bring up the point that he's going to be the sole authority in naming the bridge in the end. So the whole thing is a bunch of crap.
So we'll continue with that process. Again, that's open to the public to participate at trimet.org until December 1st. So we'll keep that open. I also wanted to let you know that based on both the investments you made and the frequent service restoration, plus our normal series of retirements that we have, we are hiring at a very rapid pace right now at TriMet, and so we are reaching out to the community looking for the right kind of applicants, people who have a base of customer service within them, and also working very hard to make sure that our applicant pool looks like the community that we serve.
I don't know. It seems to me that they've gone a little bit overboard with the applicant pool looking like the community. The community here is predominantly white. I hate to bring this up. I'm not trying to sound racist, but it seems they have a very heavy employment of people English as a second language employees, which is actually more than the actual community. Not that I'm anything against that. People should have opportunities. The other thing is you need to be the kind of Joe Esmond's going to talk about this in a minute. Let me comment further. I've always wondered why they can't get better people to apply. There seem to be so many incidents that I hear of or watch on Twitter, so many incidents of customer service problems. And I've always said the HR department does a miserable job in hiring, really. There's so many people that shouldn't be here that just don't have the aptitude or the respect for the people they're carrying. I mean, most drivers do a good job, but there's a fairly significant minority that just don't get it at all and make everybody look bad. Let's continue.
Between now and March 2nd, we'll be hiring over 78 new bus operators. We'll also be hiring over 30 positions that include rail and bus training supervisors, as well as other positions in transportation and maintenance. So big effort on the part of our human resources department to really make those positions available and to really reach out. We actually did have our own career fair earlier this month at the Oregon Convention Center and had over 250 applicants from that. Again, we're also working very closely with a number of community-based organizations to sort of see if we can begin to have references of qualified applicants to us. So, and it's an important effort.
Outreach to people who served in the armed forces? I'm sure it's someplace in the policy. If I just want to bring it up in public, that
we do that indeed, and indeed, TriMet as well as other people in this industry have been really active in trying to recruit our armed services veterans. So appreciate that.
I mean, we find in our industry that they make very good applicants for our apprenticeship.
Yeah.
They know how to follow orders.
Bingo. Esmond, I'm starting to wonder about this Esmond guy. I really haven't seen much in the way of pro-union talk from him. And now they know how to follow orders kind of personality. Yeah, it's true. Military people don't know how to follow orders. That's the whole basis of the military, is do what you're told and don't ask questions. And we know that TriMet doesn't want operators that ask questions. You can see where I am today. I'm not there. And I was actually a very good operator. I had no customer complaints, no accidents. I was actually excellent at the job, but there was a day that I actually enjoyed it. That day ended quite a few years ago. But the whole military mind is somewhat dangerous. A lot of the managers come from the military, and my experience with them is they follow orders. You're not here to think. You're here to do what we tell you. Very dangerous philosophy, and I know that in order to really survive at TriMet, you need to be focused on that job and making money. Do not put yourself in a position of getting involved with policy or politics of the agency. They do not like it, and definitely they don't like you saying anything negative about them. This isn't a profit-making company. This is a tax-funded government agency, and the level of paranoia about their own employees saying something wrong is huge there. I can't stress enough how much they have their staff stomped down. I mean, people won't join my lawsuit, for example, because they're scared of the company. They're scared that the company will get their names, and that's a fact. And people know who they're working for.
How to get out of bed in the morning compared to some other younger people, and they have a drive.
I would tell you some of our star employees are veterans, and
good.
Again, it does fit to the kind of organization that our transportation and maintenance divisions are, which have a lot of SOPs and rules to follow, and so that sort of mentality is very helpful. I also just wanted to as I sent you a notice on this, but just to note that we did announce a reorganization of our operations division last week. That division had historically represented 85% of our workforce, so it was really a huge undertaking. for any person, but we thought in order to truly focus more on the reliability issues that we know are coming with the aging of the system, that we split that into two pieces. There's a transportation division, which is still the bulk of employees, operates the rail as well as the bus operators and the dispatch system and the trainers and other things associated with staffing that effort and supporting it over time.
And since that reorganization, we've had two major service disruptions. So his little reorganization hasn't done anything. As a matter of fact, things have gotten worse. I mean, it hasn't been in place that long, but we've had two major service disruptions since Mcfarlane reorganized. People should really understand that that's happened since his reorganization.
And that will be led by our current executive director, Shelley Lomax. And then there is the maintenance division that will really be focusing much more on the investments that we need to make to ensure reliability and a state of good repair on the system. So we're trying again to really up our game related to that effort and the aging of the system. I recently ran into, at a conference, the general manager of the MBTA, and I thought that they would be very would not be sympathetic at all to the maintenance efforts that TriMet has, but actually her view of it was that the hardest part of the life of the system is when you hit about 30 years old, because all of a sudden a lot of things start to go wrong all at once, and that's kind of where we are. So we have a really major effort ahead of us that you've supported in the budget, and now we're organizing ourselves to do that. So I also wanted to note on the staffing front, one, for me, sadder note, which is that Olivia Clark, our Executive Director for Public Affairs, will be stepping down on November 22nd. She calls this, she's heading off on a self-enhancement sabbatical. Now, I guess you get to define that yourself. But I would suspect that this is mostly retirement for a while, but she may put on the white hat and come back and do some.
It's interesting how they all kind of snickered at that. You know, Olivia is leaving with a nice big fat $10,000 a month pension. Who would not like to leave with a $10,000 a month pension? I used to make $32,000 a year there. She makes that in 3 months being retired. I mean, what we really have there is another example of the oligarchy of TriMet. All of those people sitting at that table, plus Olivia and all the other executives, the oligarchy raping TriMet for ridiculous sums of money, and nobody says a thing. They'll complain about our health, our rich health, but they won't say a word about their own ridiculously rich pensions. And Olivia, you're another one that can be called a greed monger of TriMet, walking out of there with a ridiculous pension because you were an insider. Ellen Fox brought up the point that she's leaving to go on a self-improvement, spiritual enhancement seminar. Maybe she wanted to cleanse herself of some of the stuff that's been going on at TriMet, and that's not a bad theory. I mean, there's been a lot of negative stuff going on here. I mean, you never hear the board talking about it. You hear me talking about it. You heard Lane talking about it. We heard Cameron Johnson for a while talking about it, although he's disappeared. You know, you still hear us, but, you know, the mainstream media doesn't cover it. Of course, TriMet doesn't cover the negative part, and the board doesn't hear the negative part. But people that are inside know the negative part. I mean, all of the top execs have left. I mean, DeHamel, Torin, now Clark, Banta, everybody's left. Okay, and when everybody leaves like that, there's a reason why. And don't forget, this was after Neil gave them their raise to retain them. Okay, and then they left anyway. So yeah, I hope you enjoy your riches on the backs of the taxpayers, Olivia.
Good work around the community. I know she's very involved with the Providence boards and other things, so I know that she'll be very active part of the community and a strong supporter of public transit in doing that. Clearly, she's been a key trusted colleague for all of us, but certainly for me over the past years, and has a great resume, if you will, of success from TriMet, including the lobbying effort that delivered the state lottery funds for the Portland-Milwaukee Light Rail, as well as additional authorities related to the payroll tax. So I'm sure she's going to be around. I'm sure you'll see her, but I just wanted to acknowledge that transition. We'll be in the midst of recruiting, and I'll keep you very posted on that. A very difficult job to fill. Both Olivia's predecessor and Olivia have been institutions within the region, frankly, much more than just a staff person at TriMet, really in key to the whole transportation structure of the region. And so we're a very heavy load to try to find a replacement. Finally, I did want to review with you the budget timeline, and we've included a general outline.
Well, Mcfarlane just goes on here about some budget stuff, very boring, very irrelevant, very useless for us to listen to. But what you've seen is another general manager's report. Things have gone completely bad since the reorganization. I want to bring up that I just watched a Coin report on the Trimageddon. We just had another Trimageddon where a Mack train derailed, and Coin was doing an investigation and tried to get TriMet to provide with some information. Well, in true form, TriMet refused to speak with them. They refused to provide information of certain aspects of the system, citing security, because we always know at TriMet they talk transparency. They certainly don't do transparency. Like everything that has to do with TriMet, they say one thing and they do another, and it's happened over and over and over again. And it will just keep happening until we can somehow change the governance structure here, because what we have with TriMet is a very, very closed system. It does not allow for input, even though they say they want the input. You know, they say all the right words and pretend they're doing all the right things, but when it comes right down to it, citizens do not have a say in this transit system. Don't listen to them. Watch them. Because what they say and what they do are two different things. There's no relevance between the two of them. And if you come to work here, beware. You're in for a ball-busting career. Early mornings, late nights, grueling. The public is not happy right now. So you're putting yourself into a situation where the public is extremely hateful of bus operators. A lot of that was caused by Mcfarlane himself, which is very public. We're getting our benefits are too rich, and making the public think that we're getting better than we should. And a lot of this is on his head.
I think that TriMet can't get any lower in the way they do things. We had this situation with Lane Jensen. Okay, I know he was a pain. Everybody knows he was annoying. But the way you're handling this is really off the edge, okay? It's really, you would have gone off the deep end, you know, for 10 years in jail for an annoying pain in the neck. Really, it shocked even me that this kind of thing would happen. I mean, I always expect the worst too, but that? So really, can you please come up a little bit in the way you're doing business and stop using this hammer to deal with people that you don't appreciate?